Hey, it's me, Tony B, your voice of the community. Joining us will be DWELE, Neo-Soul Artist, 5-time Grammy Award winner. And yes, I know he is very popular with the women, but we guys love his music too. We're going to talk to him, find out more about what he's been doing, get an update on the latest album, and find out more about when he will be in Seattle. My guest joining me right here, right now, DWELE. DWELE, this is the first time I've had to talk to you, and you seem a lot like your music, very relaxed, very humble. But here you have this enormous following of women. How do you handle that? How do you deal with that? Does it get to your? Does it go to your head?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I take it all in stride. You know, I understand what it is. I understand the position I'm in. Just take it all in stride.
Okay.
I definitely have my fun. I didn't say that. No, I take it in stride, you know, but I definitely enjoy myself, and it's time to go out and party, you know, and pop bottles. I got that side too.
Okay.
It's most of the time, but I had that party side too.
What do you love about women? That would be my question. Not what do you like about women. What is it that you love about women? What would a woman, what qualities would a woman have to capture the heart of DWELE?
What's not to love about women? Let me see. What do I love? What do I love? What can a woman do to capture my heart?
That's it.
I would say I really like a woman that's comfortable when she's natural.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I
like a woman. I like a woman that, like, she could step out of the house in sweatpants and some flats and no makeup and be hot.
Okay.
That's what I like. That's what I like in a woman. You know, I like a woman that also is spontaneous. You know what I'm saying? Because I like doing crazy stuff at the drop of a hat. So spontaneity is very important, you know, in a woman. And I like a woman that's going to make me want to better myself at the end of the day.
All right, ladies, there you have a little insight. When DWELE comes to town, again, he'll be here September 18th and 19th at Jazz Alley. Those are the few of the qualities that he's what I say, looking for. Would that be accurate? Are you in a position right now where a love interest is something you have time for on your schedule?
Look, my time right now, I'm in love with my album. My album is my girlfriend. I do have to say that. Yeah, I do have to say that. But I am accepting applications.
One of the things that we are doing here along with this interview is taking advantage of digital technology. Talk to me about how digital technology has impacted you in the music world and your ability to make, create, and at the end of the day, make your music available.
Oh, man. This is the right day to be an independent artist, because you don't need a major label to make your own single, to promote your own single, to shoot a video. You can do everything yourself. And you have the avenues to put it out, you know what I'm saying, and create your own buzz. This is something that really wasn't available when I got into the industry 10 years ago. It was a totally different industry. It was a different industry 5 months ago, truthfully. You know, it's always changing. But it's definitely, the technology is definitely up. It makes it possible to work with people that you otherwise wouldn't be able to work with. You know, a lot of songs nowadays are cut. The song that I have on the album with Raheem Devine, What You Gotta Do, I was on the road, or I was at home working on the album. He was on the road. So it was kind of no way for our paths to cross in the time needed for me to get the album in, you know, but I sent him the song via email. He got it. He took it to a studio. He cut it, and he could send it back to me, and we can mix it together to make it sound like we were in the same place, same time. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And that's the beauty of technology right now. You know, it definitely makes things a lot easier. The fact that we're doing this interview right now over Skype is crazy. You know what I'm saying? It was a point in time. It was a point in time where if I couldn't get to Seattle, it wouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? And we wouldn't have been able to make this happen. But it's definitely made a change, and it's also made it easier for the artists to connect with the fan base. You know, and it gives them another outlet. You know, to stay in contact and to kind of close the gap. You know, between listener and speaker, I guess you could say.
Were you at all intimidated by this new technology? Because as you mentioned before, even 10 years ago, a lot of what we have access to right now wasn't available. When you began to, I guess, get into it, were you at all intimidated, or did it become fairly natural for you?
I think it became natural. I think it was less of an intimidation thing and more of I'm not ready for things to change.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's less intimidation and more like, it's not broke, why fix it?
Okay.
You know? so it took me a minute. It took me a minute to get a Skype. You know, it took me a minute to switch over from doing everything. Well, to put it simply, it took me a minute to switch from tape to CD.
Okay.
The equivalent of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with tape. Why would I switch from tape?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But eventually, I saw the pluses and the pros to actually switching over. And after a while, you just got to embrace it. You got to embrace it and keep it moving.
You bring that up, and this is really, I guess, for either our old school fans or those in depth with music and what it's about. People also occasionally talk about the difference between analog and digital recording, and some folks describe analog as more warm. You said it was hard for you to give up analog. Tell me about the differences between the two, or maybe even the similarities.
Yeah, when I said from tape to CD, I just used it as an analogy. But definitely, there is like a major difference. If you're just a listener, you probably, this day and age, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference as much. Mm-hmm. But there's definitely a warmth that's missing in your everyday CD. Even when it comes to equipment, you know, I have an old school Akai DPS-12. It's a digital. It's a digital recorder that I used to record all of my music on. I used this before I converted to Pro Tools, and I noticed that in using Pro Tools, the sound is a lot. The clarity is great, but it's missing some of that dirt. You know, the dirt sometimes what makes a song. You know what I'm saying? And that DPS-12, even though it was a digital recorder, still had this dirt to it. You know, it has this muddiness to it, and that warmth, that muddiness is kind of missing. You know, sometimes when you cut records. Sometimes I like to cut a record in Pro Tools and run it through the DPS-12 to get that dirt back in the Pro Tools.
I love the way that you are articulated that came through really clear. I'm staying here with the digital thing for a while. Again, the game has changed. Being with a major independent, again with that same focus on now access to the internet and digital media, how different is it to be with a major independent?
I think it really works out, you know, in working with this new technology, because I'm also into videography, and this is something that I was getting into when I was with the major labels, and I was shooting videos like homemade, not really homemade videos, but videos at home where I'd have the band come over, we'd have a jam session, you know, and I wanted to post those up. Or, you know, kind of spread them on this budding thing called the internet. You know what I'm saying? And the label was like, yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
DWELE was on top of it early in the game.
Yeah. They was like, well, we're not ready for it. Like, no, we need to, maybe we could work that out. They were brushing it off. Like, yeah, whatever, don't do it. Okay. But now, if you look at it, I see a lot of people doing it. This new artist, Alan Stone, is doing it a lot, you know, from his, I don't know if it's from his living room or how he's doing it, but it's a great marketing tool. I have a couple videos on my YouTube channel that are like that, you know, where I just shot them at home, you know, and they're kind of like jam sessions with my friends. I put them up and they get a lot of hits, you know, and in a way that's turning people on to the music, you know. That could be somebody watching this video that's never heard my music before, you know, and I really think that you know, that this major independent, they kind of they encourage this and they grab onto it, you know. So they encourage me to do videos, to shoot commercials for an upcoming album and post them. you know, and I think they embrace the fact that it's a great marketing tool.
For you, again, I want to get back to the music here a little bit. New album out, new video. How does all this make you feel? I mean, you've got a solid fan base, but still, when you're putting out that new record, I would imagine that there has to be somewhat of a sense of how's it gonna do, even though people on the outside are going, "Where's the album at, man?"
Yeah. Definitely. You know, you always had the butterflies, you know, right before an album. I just try not to think of it.
Even you, with the voice and the talent you have, you still are a little hesitant.
yeah, definitely. But it's like this last release, this most recent release, they kept me so busy that I didn't have time to think about it.
Okay.
You know, I stayed out on the road. I was doing an interview. I'm working on this show. I got to get this show together over here. I got to put the band together for this, and you know what I'm saying? So it was so much going on. I looked up and the album was out. You know, so I didn't have time to worry myself to death about it this time around. You know, it just came out. Thankfully, the reviews have been great. You know, people are really loving it. It seems like a lot of people are comparing it to Subject in some kind of, which were like my first two albums. And I know there's nothing like a first. Like nothing will ever be a first album, a first kiss, or anything. So to hear people compare it, you know, to the first album is definitely it definitely feels good.
You know, again, you bring another point to segue to. You talk about that first album. A lot of things that occasionally artists put everything into their first album because it's an opportunity to talk about all the experiences that you've had over the years. And then it's hard to duplicate. How are you able, again, we talked about this earlier, back to your fifth album now. How were you able to draw from a variety of experiences as opposed to that first one, which everybody loves? It was, you know, to continue and again be consistent.
Yeah, they say you have your whole life to create your first album.
Yeah.
Which is the truth. Every album after that, you're on the deadline. You know, which is kind of weird, but I always try, like with every album, I not only speak off of what I see people going through or what I'm going through. I speak on things that have happened in the past. You know, so as long as you hold on to those memories, you document those memories, you always have something to talk about. You know, sometimes you could talk about the same situation 2-3 times, you know, from different perspectives.
Okay.
You know, and you know, it gives you a different song.
We've talked quite a bit about the music, and again, you being a multi-instrumentalist and writer and performer. I understand, DWELE, that you're also an artist as well.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the things that you do when you're not playing music.
I try to do everything that has to do with expression. You know, like I said, videography, something that I'm heavy into now. I got into painting a few years ago. I was always into sketching. I used to love to sketch, but I was scared of color. I'll say that. You know, I used to stick to pencils and charcoal and, you know, smearing and all of that. But a few years ago, I actually went and bought some paints and I got into painting. It's a lot of fun. It relaxes me.
Okay.
I found out, and it inspires me in a way too. You know, so I'm into all of that. Any and everything having to do with expression, I'm doing it.
Now, I'm not very familiar with the process of painting, but the question is, oils or acrylics, what do you paint with?
Actually, when I started, I wanted to go straight to oils.
Okay.
But the guy at the shop was like, if you've never done it before, you can't do oils. I disagree. I feel like if I'd have picked up oil paints, I would have grasped it. You know,
okay.
It's pretty good. But he talked me into getting acrylics, so that's what I've been working with. I've been working with acrylics. But actually, when I get back in town next week, I might go get some oils just to prove the guy wrong.
My guest again, DWELE. It's me, Tony B. Before I let you go, I have to talk to you a little bit about education. It's something that in this particular country we're falling behind on, and there are a lot of those out there who see their future in the music industry. Tell me about the importance of, first of all, education in general, and how how education has helped you in this thing we call the music business.
Definitely. I feel like education is something that we don't take seriously when we're younger.
Okay.
You know, so because of that, I go and I speak at a lot of schools, you know, and I always tell them the importance of education, even if they are just trying to get into the music business. Everything from mathematics to science to a basic English class.
Yeah.
You know, all of that comes into play because everything is turning, you know, technical. Technology is so big nowadays and it's taken over that you have to know how to work with numbers. You have to know how to read these thick manuals that you're getting with all of these pieces of equipment, you know. And so something as simple as that, you know, something as simple as taking a French class, whereas I took French for 3 years in high school, but I never really asserted myself like I should have because I figured I'm a black man in Detroit. When am I ever going to use this French? You know, I'm never going to use it. And now I find myself in France. I'm in France at least, you know, three times a year. And I should be able to speak it fluently, but I didn't really apply myself the way I should have in class. I always bring that up, that you never know what you're going to need in the future, you know. And I hate going to these schools, especially in Detroit. In Detroit, a lot of schools are closing down. And the schools that are open, they're losing their music programs. And they feel like, I don't know exactly what's going on, but it seems like they feel like music isn't that important, you know, when it comes to school. And because of that, you see a lot of the youth not knowing about live instruments and not knowing about the creative process behind music. All that they know is the computer that's in front of them, the computer that they see the next producer using. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the live element of music is kind of becoming a lost art. And I hate seeing that happen. So, you know, every chance I get, I try to go and talk to schools because I know what it did for me as a kid. You know, in 4th grade, a lady coming in with live instruments, playing the trumpet and actually showing us, you know, what kind of sound each instrument makes, letting us choose, you know, which instrument we wanted to pursue, you know. And so every chance I get, I try to go to schools. I'll bring an instrument. I'll bring, you know, the current elements of music, you know, and I'll talk to the kids and let them touch it, you know what I'm saying, and feel their way around the equipment and things like that.
You know, our art, music are generally what defines societies historically. DWELE, I find it amazing that consistently the music programs are the first things cut from schools when we have evidence-based research that shows that music improves expression, it improves math skills, it improves science skills, but it's always the first thing cut from the curriculum.
Yeah.
On that note, again, man, when you come here, I'm happy and excited to tell folks that you're going to be doing a meet and greet, and in particular, this one will involve parents of young children who are also fans of yours, and in most instances, women as well. It is awesome that you would take the time out of your schedule because you're here to perform. That's why you're coming to Seattle. To do these meet and greets. You talked a little bit about why it was important to you to go to schools, and in this particular instance in Seattle, you're going to be talking about early education and the importance of being parents, which again is what early education is all about. Talk about that for a minute, the role that you feel that parents need to play or should play in the lives of their children right from birth.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen a lot of times, even in my situation, not from my parents, but from my past bosses, from my past teachers. You know, I've seen where there's been a situation where I tried to do something a little left to express myself, and they shut it down. Like, no, that's not the way it's done. You know, and I feel like as parents and as teachers, you should kind of encourage left thinking, you know, because that's kind of what generates the next, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
My parents were always, like I said, I was a busy kid, and my parents were always motivating me to try something different. Okay. You know, and they never stunted my growth in something, in any form of expression. You know, if they saw me painting, they would let me paint. They would go out and buy paint to see how far I could take it.
All right.
And they would back me, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, you could do this to make it better, you could do that. But they never shut anything down. They let me be myself. They let me find myself in painting or in sketching or in music. You know, so I think that's important for that's one thing that I always tell parents, that I always tell teachers. Let your kids experiment. Let them try different things. You know, of course, within reason. but don't instantly shut them down. You know, kind of let them explore and find themselves in their talent.
My brother, it's been fantastic talking to you. Much continued success, and again, congratulations not on only all of your success, but being the individual that you are. We need more people like you in our communities, in our society.
Well, thank you very much.
Our guest again joining us on the program, DWELE. Big thanks to him and all the things that he does in our communities. Remember, he'll be here 18th and 19th. That's a Tuesday and Wednesday at Jazz Alley. You want to get your tickets right away because we're sure it's going to sell out. Every time he comes, it does. Especially after you got to hear him talk a little bit about what he does and what he's looking for in a woman. Thanks to DC Productions for their incredible work and their engagement and involvement in our communities. I'd like also to thank Musica. Be sure and check out ATV for a number of things that impact and affect your communities globally, nationally, internationally, and of course right here in our hometowns in the Northwest. It's me, Tony B, your host of the program. That's it. That's all the time that I have. That's going to do it for the kid. I'm out. Until next time, remember, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are probably right. Peace.